Have we started?
Yes, we started.
Oh,
double dink. Why did it double dink?
Double dink.
Well, it always does that with me.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it does it when it's like, your microphone isn't working, but chat will tell us that if it doesn't work.
I'm kind of concerned about the sound because it's going in the red up there, but it's only about halfway on the bottom. I don't know which gauge to go by.
La la
I hope it's not
la.
too loud. Oh yeah, Errol, can't be too loud because we can hear everybody upstairs, so I'm sure they can hear us.
Oh.
Just gonna look at his glasses.
So hi guys, welcome to 3 Geeks in a Pot. Oh, it looks like Mercenary Ben quit.
He always says that.
Just gonna
Every
refresh
once
quickly.
in a while.
Are they saying that we, that they can hear
Oh, Errol
us?
can't even see it, can you?
No, that's okay. I don't need to see chat as long as other people have to see the chat.
I won't pause too long. I swear.
Yay,
Don't pause.
Mercenary
Hello.
Ben's back.
My name is Errol.
Are we starting?
No, I'm
Yes,
just
started.
saying hello.
Oh, hello. I'm Amanda.
I'm Ja-Mez, and yes, we are all back.
We're all here.
We are all
It's been,
here.
I think a month
Like
and a half
month.
since we've been all together.
I want a pillow.
You want a pillow? I can give you a pillow.
Thank you. Pillow.
Pillow.
Pillow for me.
Try and be accommodating.
Yes.
So where did it? Oh, I've never been here. You did the podcast last week. Here.
Yes.
So,
Actually, sadly, don't get many visitors here, but
Oh, we'll come visit. You know what we did on Friday?
what did you do?
We
on
could
Friday?
come and watch. Oh, your TV's smaller than the man pan.
Yeah, I need to.
Oh,
Well, also,
so
that
we're
that
only
one
going to
doesn't
go
work.
to
I
the
gotta get a
man
new one.
pan. We
What?
went and saw Clue.
yeah.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, you still haven't seen it?
Oh, too bad. We should have invited you. It
It's
was
on-
so fun.
It was
It's
a
on
lot of
Netflix,
fun.
and every time I see it, I'm like, "Oh, I should watch that." Oh, look, something else to watch instead.
See, well, next time just say, man pan, can you watch this with me? See, I don't have Netflix, so I just mooch off the man pans, and then I have someone to watch with. And she has a bigger TV than I do.
Yeah, I
All
need
this-
a bigger
there you go.
TV.
Just go over to the man pans place, and then I also got her to buy me Swiss chalet. So could you just order the Swiss chalet, and then make sure there's juice there,
But then,
and then get it all ready to go on the Netflix? And it was perfect.
but you tried, you tricked me.
I twicked you.
Yeah.
I tricked you.
Because he called me from the subway station, and I thought he was at the Davisville subway station. He was like, "No, I'm still at work. I just
Still
left."
at
And it was like
work.
10 to 7.
They're telling me the quality is not great. That's
What
disappointing.
quality of what?
The broadcast, they're running at 720p, and it's still not. The quality's still not. It's disappointing because I just bought a new webcam for the purpose
Of the
of
camera.
increasing the quality of this thing.
Oh
But,
well, that's okay.
and I apologize about the lighting. We had the overhead lighting on, but my face just kind of went. It was ghosted out completely.
I'm a
And
ghost.
Look how bright I am.
so at some point, I'm actually going to buy actual
Watch,
lights
I
for
can
this
get
place.
brighter too. Oh, brighter! So
We're trying to light it
bright.
with a desk lamp because it's the only way we can get it so it's not
bright. I'm white man.
blanking at our faces. And it'll just make me mess of things.
Ugh,
Where's
where's my pillow?
just dealing with. Anyway.
Oh, Jezebel's here. Hello, Jezebel.
Sorry about the quality, guys. We're slowly but surely testing out new equipment. As long as you can hear us, can you hear us all right?
Yeah, I'm worried about the volume because I'm not.
Can you hear me crunch my teeth?
144p video. I've never heard of that.
Looks like when someone loads in. Are you?
What are you doing here?
It's doing a sound test. Can people hear? My net connection is pretty slow, so you keep dialing my. Oh God! Don't do that! Don't do that!
Are you doing the clicker thing?
No! He was grinding his teeth. I hate that sound. I hate it so much. You shouldn't do that. It's bad for your teeth. It sounds awful. Oh my God!
Oh, Brian's here. Hey,
I
Brian.
hate that. You don't feel like it. So why did you discover that? Oh God! It's like.
It's a good thing
Oh,
you're not
good they
my
can hear
wife,
us.
because I apparently do that all the time.
You should need a. You need a.
Mouth guard.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you do.
So what my wife does, she doesn't mind me snoring, but when I grind my teeth, it wakes her up. So she goes and puts her hand on my face, and then I stop,
Aww.
or I wake up one or two.
The
It only happens apparently when I feel stressed. Well, don't steal. I I don't know that I'm feeling stressed. But
So
I
they're
guess
reporting
sometimes
that
I'm
our
stressed.
video is low, but our audio is good.
Okay,
Which
so
is funny because I wanted to buy an actual mic for this thing so we get good audio, and I bought a like nice 1080p camera, and it doesn't want to. But hopefully, when this actually goes up to YouTube as a full video,
Yeah,
not just
you
a
can-
stream, I'm hoping it'll be in 720p.
Can they hear my teeth?
Oh, God damn it, Aaron. We're not even into the broadcast yet. You're driving us crazy.
See, well, because we're not in the broadcast, I thought, maybe I could be a bit more relaxed.
You can be, but it's just sort of.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so he said he was still at work, and he's coming over to my place, and so I was like sitting there like, oh crap, food's about to be here. He told me to order it like 40 minutes ago. Oh man! So then my buzzer rings, and I let the Swiss LA guy in, and then I answer the door, and I'm like, I'm still on the phone with Errol. He's like, maybe you should get Jen over. I'm like, why? You're not going to be here for a while. And then I open up the door, and the Special LA guy's there, and he jumps out and like shouts and tries to scare me.
I scared the Swiss LA guy.
Yeah, I'd say he just scared the Swiss LA guy.
I think he thought it was weird because I was like following him. Because I was in the elevator with him.
And then you were just standing next to him at the door.
I was just standing next to him at the door. That's probably creepy if I was a Swiss LA man. I like Swiss LA.
Yeah, Brian, I tested it earlier. The software's fine. The webcam's fine. I recorded some 1080p video earlier as a test and did some tests on YouTube.
We hear the gnashing of teeth, by the way.
Nice. Look! Lysol! Can I have one?
Well, what?
For my iPad.
Is that wouldn't that be like really corrosive on your iPad?
Nah.
No.
Nah.
It survived his children, so.
It's true. Children have like the most gummiest hands on the planet. Unless you have wet naps. Oh, maybe you have toilet wipes. Do you have toilet wipes?
I do not. Those are the only wipes. I have toilet
Toilet
paper.
wipes are
I have
I
awesome.
paper
have a
towel.
little microfiber.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah,
Can I have it?
Sure. Well, we still have the.
I think it's 8 o'clock. Oh, no, we have
No.
3 minutes.
We have 3 minutes to clean. Check us out in a pre-show. We clean the iPad.
Oh, look, you have glasses. Oh, I can use this on my glasses.
There you go.
Anything
Oh yeah, I
else?
saw you cleaning those earlier. I guess I should have offered before.
Okay, sorry. So you do a pre-show while I clean my glasses.
Pre-show. So yes.
I'm really disappointed this is low quality. This is going to really bug me. Because it looks, on the broadcast, it looks great for
Yeah,
us.
on our screen it looks fine, but I guess maybe it's
I'm going to test the,
test what? Well, we can deal with it for an hour, and then we'll do testing things.
no, I'm going to just open the,
Oh, that's a good plan.
check and see if it's low quality for us too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like,
Check us out
I
in
don't
a
understand. It's,
pre-show. We
Wow.
clean the iPad.
Super crappy.
Super crappy.
arg.
All right, well, we'll deal with it for now. Okay, so
Well, why don't you check to see maybe there's something in the Bing?
Like, I wish I could show you the
Can you
screen,
go to
guys,
the
but
Bing? Like the green,
You're going to
the
have to be more specific about the big.
gear?
The what?
The gear? And maybe we could change things in there.
I can't even see anything. Default
Maybe.
device.
Maybe not.
new equipment.
Well, let's not change things too badly.
Quality's bad on YouTube too. Yeah, we saw that ourselves.
Yeah, we were just checking out the YouTube quality, and it was really bad for us too. And like, I don't know what it is on the broadcast for us. It looked
Okay,
great.
so we just can't move. That's all. We can stay perfectly still.
I'm
We have
good
an
at
arrow.
staying
That's going to
still.
be very difficult.
I'm super awesome at staying still.
Is it 8 o'clock yet?
It is almost 8 o'clock. I think we can begin now. 7:59.
Yay. You want to do the intro?
Hello, my name is Errol,
I'm Amanda.
I'm Ja-Mez.
and we are 3 geeks in a pod where we talk about on a weekly basis all sorts of nerdy topics
Yes.
brought to you live from Toronto.
Yep.
If you want to join us, you can go join us on chat, www. Actually, it's the bottom there.
Right
You
here.
can read it right there. And you can join us in chat, ask us questions, bring up any kind of comments, and we will respond to them like 30 seconds later
Yeah.
because it's delayed. Now, we apologize for the YouTube quality, But apparently it's Amanda's fault.
What?
See?
How is it my fault?
See?
How?
She's denying it already.
It's
Very
not
defensive.
my computer.
Thank you.
Wow, we have quite a turnout tonight.
Hey, look at them all. Awesome.
So I'm going to say hello to Brian, Jex, Jezbel, Kari, Matthew C., Melly, and Mercenary Pat, who've all decided to join us tonight. And if you guys don't know, we're going to talk about the Bechdel Test.
Bechdel.
So, oh yeah, that's another thing. If anyone knows the correct way to pronounce it,
Bechdel.
We're having a discussion about that.
Bechdel.
tell us.
Is it Bechdel? Bechdel?
It's going to be an hour of this.
Bechdel.
As far as I know, it's the Bechdel test, and the Bechdel test basically.
I bet you Kari knows. Kari knows all sorts of things. Did she say she knows?
This isn't really a new thing. People, this is sort of a thing.
Kari is like
for
an
years
English
now.
woman, so she knows these things. I mean, she teaches it, and she knows lots of things.
And if you guys know any feminists or any people who are sort of in that sort of realm of, female rights and whatnot, like this is something that's coming up on, my Facebook feed all the time, and people are constantly talking about.
I haven't seen it that much. It's
really?
weird.
I've seen it a lot.
Oh,
I
by
see
the
it all
way,
the time.
yes, we are all here together after like a month of
More than
various, one geek here, one geek there,
One geek in the hospital.
one geek in the hospital,
There, everywhere.
everywhere.
Birthday geeks.
Old
Birthday
Nick
geeks.
Geeker had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
Okay, so Kari's confirming it's Bechdel.
Back down.
And on
So,
the phone.
just for some background on the Bechdel test, basically this thing came out of a comic called Dykes to Watch Out For in 1985, and basically the setup was that there's two women walking along and they see a movie theater, and one of them says to the other, do you want to go see a movie? And the other one says, no, I only go and see very specific movies that meet very specific criteria. And that criteria is, one, that there's two or more women in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
With names?
That's a later addendum.
Oh, okay.
There are some additions to these that to help clarify things, because this test is kind of vague. So the basic rules are, 1, that there's 2 or more women, 2, that they talk to each other, 3, about something other than a man. And again, like this has been, because this test can be kind of vague, they have sort of adapted it and kind of expanded it to, more specified.
Put more qualifiers on it?
Yeah, that the 2 women must have names, because unfortunately a lot of women in movies just are there and they don't ever really name who they are.
So people could be like, well, those 2 women drinking coffee we're talking about.
Yes.
Whatever. Kari actually has taught the Bechdel's actual comics.
Wow.
That's what she's saying. So that's cool. So she's like the expert. So
yeah,
she can,
I feel bad now because I didn't do as much research into this as I usually do. So
she can pop in with things and
yeah,
say,
I'm hoping
like,
she will school us and
you're
correct
wrong,
us.
or that's right.
And the other addendum that I just heard today, I don't know if more people are talking about this one, but it specifies that they must be talking for like more than 60 seconds. Because there are certain movies that there is some debate whether or not they pass, because there's like a 10-second conversation between 2 named characters, and it's like the conversation doesn't have any sort of relevance to the plot. It's just sort of something that happens to move between scenes or something, and people debate whether or not that's a deep enough connection between 2 people to qualify for the test. And basically, what the test... I lost my mouse.
No more mouse. Now, just to let you know, that doesn't mean that this is a test whether or not the film is good.
No, it's just
more along just to point out the
lack of representation of women in Hollywood. A lot of people are kind of upset that basically Hollywood is a boys' game. A lot
of things are a boys' game.
Yes, it is, but this one especially because
boy game.
Yes, because a lot of it's all white males who are running the studios. It's all white males who are making the films. And they're targeting these mostly towards white males. And because of this, the content of the films tend to be very light on females and ethnics and and very people who are not white males, essentially. I know that's a terrible word to use. I'm sorry, but
2 geeks and an ethnic. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
What? I can be a geek too, even.
25% less air today. Sorry, we're in my apartment. I've got people who live above me. It's very thin walls, so I'm trying to keep the volume down a little bit.
It's going to be a fun test.
It's hard for
I'll say something outrageous. Like,
I can be a geek
Totoro
too,
sucks.
If though I'm an ethnic. Actually, I don't mind if people hate things I like. You guys keep thinking like, oh no, I hate Totoro. Okay, I don't care. It's like a lot of people hate me. I don't care.
When I say I haven't seen Totoro, then you freaked out.
No, that was just in a video which was called
I thought you freaked out before that too.
You know that video that we did?
Also did a comic.
Acting. And a comic.
Which I wrote, which was my favorite one. Amanda admitted she hadn't seen Totoro, and Errol passed it out, and then she admitted to me.
With this face.
Yeah. And then she admitted to me she didn't, or she admitted with me off panel that she hadn't seen Ghostbusters, and then you heard a thought off panel, and that still makes me laugh.
I have seen Ghostbusters.
Acting.
So basically, part of what we want to have a discussion about this, about the merits of the test, and that yes, it isn't necessarily a barometer of quality, just a barometer of the lack of representation of women in not just movies, but in all media. And part of what I would like to do today is to put some of our favorite movies to the test and see if you guys can suggest movies that pass or fail the test. Well, I do. There's a couple movies I wanted to note that don't pass the test, or arguably pass the test, but I do want to establish that doesn't necessarily make them bad representations of women. Like,
I'm not saying that they are.
No. And that's part of what I wanted to discuss tonight was that, for instance, I'm going to bring up, as you guys can no doubt tell by right there.
No Dana.
Yes, I love Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters technically fails the test. It does have two women. Mm-hmm. They do have a conversation. And it's not about a man.
What is it about?
It's about Dana's appointment.
Who's the other woman?
Janine
Melnitz.
Oh, okay.
Girls who speaks like this.
But the problem is they only have a very short conversation, and even though it's part of the plot to get, Dana into the story, it doesn't really pass the Bechdel test. However, something I wanted to establish was that Sigourney Weaver, as both an actress and a character in the film, is a very strong female role model, is a very strong female presence. Most of her characters that she plays are very strong females. Ripley, Dana Barrett. Dana Barrett is a very independent woman.
She's
a successful cellist in a very high-profile orchestra. She is a single woman living on Central Park Boulevard, which is not a cheap place to live, in a very expensive building, so she's obviously well established. And at that time, I think she was fairly young, probably late 20s, early 30s. So it's not like later on she is a major plot going throughout the movie. The entire movie kind of hinges on her and her transformation from Dana to Zool. Later on in the movie, we even, the female presence in that movie is very strong as well, especially later on when the villain of the film shows up, Gozer, who comes in as a female. Yeah. Well, even though the character specifically is said not to have a gender, the form that she chooses to take when she comes into our realm is a female until she changes into Stay Puft and then is blown up on Central Park Boulevard. But it's just because the Bechdel test is a great barometer for the lack of representation. There's no arguing that, but it doesn't always
reflect. Two women can have a conversation about a man without it being like them living for men.
Yes,
right?
But there's all and that's another one.
Sex in the City.
Well, Sex in the City is one of the bad examples, but there was another one I was hearing about today.
I actually have no idea what that
where it failed the test because failed the test because the two women were talking about a boy who died. Right. One of their sons died, and that's a major plot point in the story. Right. So yes, they're talking about a male, but it's an important part of the story. And it.
Well, is it
so
like?
In the end, I win.
But what I'm trying to establish is, even if there's only a single female in the film can still be a really good representation of women. There may not be an abundance of women in the film, but there's still...
I think what they're trying to get at it, though, is
it's an underrepresentation, I get it, but there's still...
And Dana is still a second character. I mean, a secondary character.
And she's a love interest.
And she's a love interest.
She gets top billing.
She gets top billing, but her main purpose, as a character, one of the main purposes, is that she does serve as a love interest for Peter, right?
Yes, but she's also a major plot point because the entire crux of the film depends upon her and the Keymaster meeting up to open the gate for Gozer to come in.
Right.
If they aren't possessed and met up, nothing happens.
But as Kari would point out, she's still a love interest and a kind of a reward for the hero.
Ryan Lehman says that the artist fails the test. I just saw the artist a couple weeks ago, actually. It's all silent, so I guess technically nobody talks to each other.
No, but I was watching the Feminist Frequency today, and she was talking about this.
Oh,
I was looking up some stuff about this. She talked about, hi, Slimy Bug, a buddy of mine from message boards that I usually go on. She was talking about the artist and said, because it's a silent film, it requires that the conversation take place in a very different way, but because it's a silent film, the parameters for it kind of open up a bit.
Well, yeah.
Because there's verbal conversation, there's very physical conversation, there's title cards which tell you what's going on. Mm-hmm. So even allowing that, it still fails the test because there's still no conversation between two women of any sort of...
No, there isn't. I don't think any women talk to each other during that.
Yeah.
You know, it's really neat. I'm going off topic right now.
Okay.
I watched Clue with Man Pan, as we said. And what's really neat...
pass the test.
Nope, I don't know if it does or not, but there's one thing I want to point out, is that there's an Asian in this film.
Oh, yeah, that was...
And this shocked me, not so much that there's an Asian in this film, when she plays the cook, and it doesn't really matter, I don't really care what part she plays or anything like that, but when she speaks in 1985, she has no accent.
No.
And that shocked me, because almost every Asian you might see on screen, except for now, later...
Yeah, she just came out like, dinner's almost ready.
Accent.
Yeah.
I disagree, Kari. I do think that Dana is very much her development is very much the point of the film. So.
And so.
Yes, she is the reward, but she's still.
I think basically Kari's saying any representation where the woman is a reward is not a good representation.
No, and I agree with that. I'm just saying that I do think that she's.
She does have a bit of it, like Kari was saying earlier, she is a bit of a token chick, right? Like,
I disagree.
I
know she's a strong character and everything, but you know, she is there as and she moves things forwards, but she is there primarily as a love interest as well, and to be saved in the end, right? Because even though
not really, because she's not really saved. She is, but not as a direct result of their actions.
Well, I think we should go on as opposed to defending.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I just want to use that as an example. I don't want to beat this over the head. Just sort of.
So it's weird. I can't think of other places where Asians don't have an accent. And it completely
in those
hit
types
me.
Of movies,
yeah,
for sure,
it completely hit me as weird because I don't normally see that. And it doesn't bother me if they do have an accent, but when it's completely gone, that's crazy.
Austin Wickett says he thought the actress was Polynesian or Hawaiian.
Who? For what? Oh,
for the cook in Clue.
Oh, probably. I don't know what. I don't know race, but she is supposed to be Chinese because they say Cantonese in the film. I didn't know that monkey brains was a Cantonese dish. I don't think it is, actually. The Asians eat a lot of weird dishes. But I could be wrong, though.
They eat scorpions on sticks.
So I still win. Miyazaki films all have females talking to a whack other people, not about love lives. Actually, there's rarely... I mean, there are a few films. Like, the ones that Takahata does, a lot of them are, like, love stories. So, like, the Wind one. What is that one called? The Heart one. What is that called? I forgot it. Man.
Uh-oh.
Takahata Ghibli film. You know it. Where they go sing, Country Road, Take Me Home.
I know what you're talking about because I remember it being mentioned at the panel that I went to.
Oh, wow. I cannot believe I forgot the title of that name. Anyway, that's a love story. From Up on Poppy Hill, love story. So, once again, they're talking about love, boy and girl. But usually anything else.
Like
Nausicaa doesn't have any kind of romance
Spirited
in
Away
it. Spirited
has
Away,
a friendship more than anything.
Friendship. Some people might want to make it into a love story. But
to be fair, Kari, Star Wars is not a really good is not a really good barometer for writing characters to begin with.
Yeah, Star Wars doesn't even
she's
have
saying
one female.
Two.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Mon Mothma is the other one, but they never have a conversation. So all three of the original Star Wars films fail as well. But what Kari's saying is that for people who aren't watching, she's saying that Princess Leia is not a real. She may be a strong person, but she's not a very strong character. She's basically a token chick. But I mean, everyone in those films are just basically archetypes. Because Lucas is not a very good writer, and he's not really great at creating characters. Yeah. In fact, a lot of them, I'd say Han Solo.
But they're better than Episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only because the actor. Well, I mean, there were other people helping with those movies, especially in 2 and 3. There were other directors to help them along. Whereas
Harrison Ford is like, I'm not saying these lines. Just
but that's the thing. Is like Han Solo is the only person in that entire film I feel is an actual person.
Yeah, but
not just a character, but a person.
But Harrison Ford still hates his character.
No, he likes Han Solo.
Oh, really?
No, I thought he didn't like the.
I've heard he likes him.
Oh.
No, I thought I could be wrong. I heard he did it. You know,
Beru is basically cannon fodder.
Yeah. Hello, I'm talking for 5 seconds and establishing that I'm close with the protagonist.
One of my favorite jokes of all time is the action figure of Owen and Beru. It's just the charred corpses.
Oh, I think I thought of a movie that might pass the test.
My Neighbor Totoro.
Yes, that would.
Yes, My Neighbor Totoro.
But
which
again,
is primarily just two girls.
Children, though. Would they talk about
they're still females, and they don't talk about males.
They don't talk about men at all.
Well, they do. They talk about
Kanta. They talk about Kanta because he annoys them.
But they have conversations beyond talking about males, which is the important part of the content. And they're the dominant parts of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I thought of was Drop Dead Gorgeous. Have you seen that? I don't think you have. It's like one of the first mockumentaries that came out, and it was it's so funny. But they follow the women around. It's about a beauty pageant, and so I can't think of one conversation in there. Although it's been a while since I've seen it. I can't think of one conversation where the women who are talking, and it's mostly female characters.
Bridesmaids would pass it too.
Bridesmaids is one of the ones she brought up in the feminist frequency thing, but I'm almost willing to argue that it's a bad representation because it's trying so hard to be the female version of the raunchy guy flick.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it's a bad representation.
I think it. I hated that movie so much.
Oh, I liked
from beginning to end.
I thought it was hilarious.
I liked it.
I liked it
because it just reminded me of all the terrible guy, like every Seth Rogen film, or like all the ones where it's just like let's be as like
raunchy.
Edgy and raunchy as possible, and it's just let's replace all those guys with females, and it's like
okay, so you don't really like the Seth or the Judd Apatow.
I like the earlier ones.
Like 40-Year-Old
Virgin was a great one, but there's actual people and characters populating that film, and there's an actual story.
Actually,
the later ones, it just became.
I think there was a story in Bridesmaids, though. Because
I'm not saying there isn't a story, but it's still, to me, it just felt like let's just do the chick version of the popular.
Yeah, but I think what I really like about it is that there is that story between the two friends, where it is about their friendship, and
well, I'm not saying it doesn't pass the test. I'm just saying, despite it passing the test, I don't feel like it's a good It's not. I feel like it's one of the things that a lot of critics say is that films can still pass the Bechdel test and still be incredibly sexist.
Yes.
And that's part of my thing with Bridesmaids. Is I feel like it's not sexist, but it's still sort of it falls into that very negative realm of.
No, I know it's like.
I don't think I'm going to win this argument, but I don't feel like it's a big.
I like it because it's like a lot of the other. Let's take one of the original ones, 40-Year-Old Virgin, right? Mm-hmm. It's really about a guy and a girl and their love interest sort of thing. Whereas Bridesmaids is about two friends.
Yes.
Right? And so if you take any other... And that's probably why I like it.
40-Year-Old Virgin is more about his relationship with the guys.
It is,
because 90% of the film is about that interaction.
Yes.
And the relationship that develops is a product of that.
Truth be told, like, as a woman watching Bridesmaids, I'm actually not a big fan of raunchy humor either. So whenever they got into, like, the truly raunchy stuff, I kind of went, But at the same time... I saw that more as about the relationships between the women than I did see as like a sex comedy. Actually, that was my thing, and the two. It was during the summer when I was a bridesmaid as well, and I was relating to it terribly well, and it was just really nice to see like the two main actresses whenever they interacted, and you just were immediately reminded of what the story was about, right? It was about their relationship, and it was about her having trust in that relationship. So
I think it's a good representation because it seemed a bit, I mean, it was exaggerated, but a lot of it was a little bit more real in regards to the conflict that might arise because of feeling, I don't know, left out or during that whole relationship between the two friends. Anyway,
the chat is on
we don't
fire
have to go,
right now.
what are they all talking about?
Full on
there?
argument in there.
I don't know what they're talking about.
They're talking about Laura Croft.
I think it's
an awful.
Nausicaa,
Nausicaa,
I think, passes it because I'm pretty sure there's a conversation between Nausicaa and main queen girl, not about a guy.
Not about a guy. Does it have to be one, or does it have to last the whole movie without talking about a guy?
Oh,
or is it
no.
just a scene?
No, there has to be just one scene, one conversation between two women that is not about a male.
Okay.
Just to show that there's some, and some people argue that it's supposed to be, plot relevant or character relevant. It can't just be a throwaway sort of conversation just to pass the test.
Did you buy eggs today? No. Great.
Yeah.
That was a conversation not about a man.
And that's part of the stipulation of the 60-second rule, which even within like a 90 or 120-minute film is still a minuscule amount of time, but so many films don't even put in the 60 seconds of conversation about something not a man.
So
this is a bit off. Oh, sorry, you're going to ask? I saw something on the internet.
What did you see on the
I saw something on Reddit, which is really neat. And it was an interview with Uhura. What's her name? Ursula. Sorry. What's Uhura's real name?
Nichelle Nichols.
Thank you. Anyway, so she has an interview basically about in North American TV, the first interracial kiss that she has with
Captain Kirk
with
William
Shatner. And basically what she was saying, which is really neat, is that when the director saw that, he flipped because they weren't supposed to kiss on screen, apparently, right?
Really?
So they were supposed to, but it wasn't supposed to be in the camera.
It was supposed to cut away.
Yeah, or something like that, right? So Bill kisses her, William Shatner kisses her, and then the director yells out, "Cut!" and it's funny when you watch this, and he's basically saying to William, you kissed her, like she's not there, sort of thing, And so what happened eventually is that Gene Roddenberry was saying, okay, look at it this way.
You almost say Gene Siskel.
No, I didn't. To make the suits feel better, we will take two shots, one with the kissing, one without, right? And what William Shatner did is that he stalls like crazy because they didn't have much time. And then when they get to the final take where he doesn't kiss her, and the director can't see, only the cameraman can see, he looks right into the camera and crosses his eyes when it came to the part where he doesn't kiss her. So they can't use the tape.
Oh my god! That's terrible and awesome!
Yeah, and so that's why you probably have the first interracial, because, that was way back in 1960.
And that was a huge thing at the time. That was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I was going to ask what doesn't pass? What movies are terrible for not passing?
Tons of them.
All kinds of them.
Every one of them? No.
Everything.
Almost.
No, it's ridiculous how many of them don't pass.
Star Wars.
Yeah, all three of the original Star Wars don't pass because there's no conversation between two female characters.
Missed.
There's not even two female characters in Mist.
Wally doesn't pass. Up doesn't pass.
Up doesn't pass.
I don't think Toy Story passes, so I don't think there's a lot of Pixar ones that don't pass.
Mm-hmm.
I do, although Incredibles probably passes.
Oh yeah, because the mother and daughter.
Ratatouille wouldn't.
No.
Because there's only one female character in
that. She's like in love.
Bug's Life, there's more than one female character, but I don't remember if they talk.
Brave probably would.
Brave would.
Brave definitely does.
Any mother-daughter thing probably would, right?
Yeah.
A mother-daughter thing.
And we won't go into Brave. We'll Brave by that one because we've had that conversation many times and we're still not going to
We all know where that's going to go.
I agree with you. I love Wreck-It Ralph.
I wasn't even mentioning it, although Wreck-It Ralph
probably wouldn't pass.
It does have
the females don't talk to each other.
I think they do at the end. I'm going to have to double check that, but I think they do at the end.
You mean Vanellope and who?
And the sergeant.
Really? Do they talk?
I think so.
They're rarely together.
they talk for more than 60 seconds.
No, but
most of the Pixar movies don't pass. Yeah, they don't.
But I'd still say that several of them still have very strong, like WALL-E, the second, like, I know it's a relationship, but it's also, Eve is a very strong character in the
I think the thing is, doesn't mean that if it doesn't pass, you don't have strong characters.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just saying that,
How
it's
many?
really difficult to find two main characters not talking.
No, I know, and that's the stipulation I made at the beginning, but part of what I'm trying to establish is that even though it doesn't pass, doesn't mean it's a bad representation of women necessarily.
Now, to be fair, an awful lot of movies out there have romances in them.
They do.
Well, yeah, but that's because that's a major selling point for films, period.
Yes,
Yeah.
right? And
It's
so,
always easy to write. It's easy drama to write, a romance.
romances. It's kind of hard to get away from that because, how many films are there out there not about romance?
Yeah. What about Disney films? Is there any Disney
They're
films
all
that would
about
pass?
romances.
What?
But very few Disney films have more than one.
Yeah,
female
female character, and she's
Like
usually-
even
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast. There are more than one.
But I would say none of
no, it does pass because Mrs. Bell, or Mrs. Potts and Bell, I'm sure have a conversation somewhere.
But I wouldn't say that there are any. I mean, it's also the test doesn't say that there are strong representation of. For example, Sucker Punch passes it.
Yes, but it's another terrible
I haven't
representation.
seen it.
It's nothing but misogyny.
But Beauty and the Beast, Mrs. Potts and Belle do have conversations, but I don't think any of them revolve anything outside of, you should give the Beast another chance,
I'd have to watch.
And I know he's a beast and not technically a man at that point.
But even like something like
Oh,
He's a
Mermaid.
male beast.
He's a male
See, there you go. That's all the man. Talking about the opposite
Beauty and
gender.
the Beast.
See, what you'd have to do, though, is you'd have to find a lot of movies out there that don't have a romance in it. And that would be difficult.
That's difficult, actually.
But I don't think. See,
that's why Drop Dead Gorgeous works.
What I have a problem with that because just because there's a romance, I don't feel like that's necessarily a disqualifier.
Does Aliens
of,
pass?
Aliens does pass.
Because there might be a talk between Newt.
Only barely because, Aliens does because, Newt doesn't talk, does she?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't think Newt does, and I don't think there's other females. Alien passes, but only barely because they're technically
Obviously.
talking about the monster and not
And
a person.
and in Aliens 3, she's stuck on a prison planet of men.
Mm-hmm.
So, nope.
Nope. Mulan, I don't think that passes either. Someone just asked if Mulan passed.
No.
Because she has that entire scene with all the women when she's they're trying to crimp her up to
But aren't they
It's a
singing
song.
about a man?
They're singing about a man. It's
No,
about.
there's also a conversation too.
Oh, probably. About men.
But yeah, that's male.
No, I
based.
feel like they're talking about her though. Talking about Mulan.
They're talking about Mulan, but they're talking about preparing her for a man, for the matchmaker. And it's like, and it's not very long. It's
No, that scene goes on a while.
Oh, when she's with the matchmaker.
Yeah.
Yes, that one does, but she's talking to her about it's for a man, basically. I don't know how that would work. It might, maybe?
No, I guess it wouldn't. But
Because it's
The main purpose is for a man.
It's for a man. It's to see if she's marriage material.
But I also feel like it's sort of about her and how unprepared she is. And like,
Someone mentioned Made in Manhattan, and I'm like, most rom-coms do not.
oh no, all rom-coms do not.
All rom-coms do not.
But that's another side of the argument is that rom-coms, even though they're geared towards women, are still incredibly sexist and very bad representations of women.
Totally, I can't watch rom-coms. I can
No.
watch really, really good rom-coms, but the really, really schlocky ones, I can never watch. My friend loves them.
Princess Bride, I don't think that passes.
Nope.
No.
Because I can't think of another character besides Buttercup.
Buttercup. Is there another? Well, there's the witch woman.
They haven't.
But they don't have.
Really
I don't think they have a
Crystal.
scene together, do they?
No, they don't.
Because what's his name's there? And that,
Yeah, that was just
Crystal.
one woman. But again, like that's a great example of a really good movie.
oh yeah, Lord of the Rings doesn't pass. Hobbit doesn't pass.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the
Even
Rings.
though there's a lot of strong, interesting
Lord of
female
the
characters,
Rings is
none of them
a
interact.
huge man fest.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is a show for women.
Yeah, we got a lot of eye candy in that.
But there's also a lot of really good female characters in that movie. However, I don't think any of them ever interact.
No.
I think there's a bit of a conversation between Galadriel and Arwen in the movie. It might be just in the extended edition. However, they're not in the same room, so they're talking. telepathically, and then they're talking about Aragorn the entire time.
Yeah, they're talking through emo elf telepathy thing.
I know Avengers doesn't pass, however, I want to state that it's still... I know a lot of women who are very attached to that film because of a very strong female character. In fact, there's two of them that I would argue...
Although it's funny, because I do remember reading somewhere, and I can't remember who wrote it, I think it was off the Mary Sue, about why do all the strong females have to be females that can beat up a lot of other people?
Yeah.
Why can't they be strong without being physically tough?
That was my thing with Kerrigan and StarCraft. She can...
are we telling the spoilers?
No, she can beat up a lot of people, but the character herself, she has a moment of emotion, and I love that moment because it's this belief that in order for females to be strong in movies, they have to be, like, the toughest, like, no emotions, they're, no nonsense, and it's like, it's okay to be vulnerable. It doesn't mean you're weak, right? That's my big thing with females.
Slimy, I would argue that you're incorrect in that. He's saying that it's not the... He's realizing that we're right, that there's very little female representation, but it's not the fault of the filmmakers. They may not be aware that they're doing it, but I still feel like the burden of responsibility is on the filmmakers, and they need to become aware of it. They need to be made aware.
I think sometimes they are aware of it, but they have to change it.
Some of them are, but...
Let's take a look at Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
So we have Sandra Oh playing the only Asian medical student in a hospital. Like
she's the most hardcore, too.
Well, not as much as hardcore, like, where do you see, like, okay, the only Asian ever?
I think the majority
in
of
a
nurses,
Seattle hospital.
I think the majority of nurses and doctors I saw in the hospital were Asian and female.
The only Asian, there was only like one black doctor too, and
and then if you go into hospital, you don't see that at all. Well, I mean, in Toronto, obviously, you're not going to see.
Even Scrubs, I can only think of two Asian characters, and they're both secondary characters.
I was watching it the other day because it's pretty diverse, Scrubs, except for there's one Asian character.
There's the female that kept bugging. There's Franklin too, but there's also his boss for the first few seasons.
Oh yeah, all right. So there's three. There's three Asian characters in there.
So that's like
I forgot Hero was in that one.
Going over to Waterloo and showing the engineering class, and they're all white. That would never happen, really. Yeah. That's not true. It's funny because like the movie, really bad movie, 21, about the guys that go to Las Vegas to fool to game the system of blackjack, and it's based on an original story, except majority of them were Asian that did it. And in the movie, no, they're all white actually. So they do know it, but they also know their audience. And obviously, if you're in North America,
there's going to be a lot of white people in your movies. Yeah. And if there's minorities, they're usually stereotypes.
And while we're on the subject of minorities, there's actually a very similar test about, this one's specifically geared towards black people, but I think that it's important to kind of point out that it's not just women who are underrepresented in Hollywood, it's anyone who's not a white male, basically. Anyone who's not an attractive white male.
Yes.
Because I also wanted to bring up the fact that there's no test for it, but there's very few positive, non-sidekick / comic relief fat characters.
That's true.
In films. Yeah. Every time you see a fat character in films, they're either disgusting, they're comic relief, or they're sidekicks. The only one I can think of who is technically kind of comic relief sometimes, is Samwise Gamgee.
I was going to say Paul Giamatti has kind of made his mark. He's not a typical leading man,
though. Yeah, he's not. No, he's not. He's definitely not a leading man, but I wouldn't necessarily call him.
But he does play a lot of leading men, which is impressive.
Yeah.
And also, but I think that's more of a testament to his ability.
Now, Hairspray, interestingly enough, as well, has a lead that wasn't meant to be, wasn't the thin model-like lead.
Which is great, and that I'd like to see that more, where there's people being, like, I'm sensitive to it because I am overweight, but I recognize that there aren't a lot of, overweight characters who are not comic relief or not, oh, look at the fat, disgusting slob of a human being. And
it's like here comes, what was it, here comes the fat guy, he's gonna want food,
even stuff like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
that guy is the comic relief sidekick.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I don't like those
Except-
movies and I don't like those characters.
Did you see World's End?
I have not seen World's End.
Oh.
They reverse it.
They reversed it?
Well, they reversed it in Paul as well,
Oh, okay.
where he is the lead character, but there's...
No,
it's still
he's
sort
not
of-
the lead character anymore. So Nick Frost isn't the lead character. It's still Simon Pegg, except they reversed the roles.
So he's a straight man in this now, and
And I actually didn't like it as much. Because when you have the lead character as the crazy, insane jerk, you don't root for him, ever, really. And so...
Jack Black is sort of a leading man, but the majority of his roles are the...
ridiculous fat man roles.
Yeah. And Jack Black is... I will never...
What about John Candy?
John Candy is one of the few, but again, he tends to be the comic relief.
Yes.
In the majority of his roles, he is
I mean,
the comic
he
relief.
mostly did comedies.
And he was mostly the sidekick.
You know, it's funny, I was watching this...
Splash,
No, he was,
Planes,
yeah.
Trains, and Automobiles.
But there are some that he was the main character. which
Uncle
was
Buck,
great.
yes, is one, but he's still sort of...
Yeah.
It's still about him being
Yeah.
the ridiculous fat man rather than here's a character who, despite being fat, can still be a person.
Yeah.
And I guess Uncle Buck, they did develop his character and show that he is a human being, but it's still sort of like... the crux of the film is still based on, look at how ridiculous this person is.
Now, I would say for Bridesmaids...
John Goodman is a good one,
John Goodman
I
as
will
well.
admit that.
Mm-hmm, John Goodman. But I would say for Bridesmaids, even though you didn't like it, so the hilarious
there
girl-
was a... But she was... Yeah.
And she was discussing, that was her character, but they never once made a fat joke.
No, they didn't. Actually,
Good, right?
I was really impressed
They
with that.
did not make
Yeah.
fun of her. She was crazy,
That was...
and they made fun of her.
I'm going
because
to
she's
admit, I don't
crazy.
think I made it all the way through
Oh,
that film, so I may not be judging it fairly. However, if I did make it all the way through, there's very specific reasons
Yeah,
because it
and
just drove me crazy.
The reason she was the comic relief was not her weight, it was...
Because she was really good at it.
And she was really confident,
She
and...
was funny.
And it wasn't like, when she's trying on the dress, it wasn't, oh, look how big she has to do the dress. No, it was just... She was hilarious in that. What was I watching, actually? One of the film... it was a Woody Allen film. And it was when he was on this, Scarlett Johansson kick. And...
Sorry, yes, I'm not saying that overweight men don't get decent roles. I'm saying that they're, by and large, caricatures rather than people. And I definitely want to see more female representation with more female characters and more female, roles where there are more than two females, where they're having actual conversations, not just about men, where they're not just token females. But I also want to see overweight guys where they're not just the token fat guy, they're not just the token joke, where they're a character in the film, but they're a positive character. Like I said, Samwise Gamgee. Yes, he's played up for laughs every once in a while, and they kind of poke fun at the fact that he's fat. But by the end of those films, I'd argue he is the hero of this movie.
Most people would argue he's the hero of those movies and books. And, anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Bechdel Test. We got a bit off topic.
That's an unusual
Actually, just on another side note, as I was watching...
we got lots of time left.
Oh, do we? Awesome. Then I can tell the
There's
story.
a time right there, too.
Oh, yeah, I keep missing that.
I was watching this Woody Allen movie, and it starred Scarlett Johansson, and she's supposed to play this really awkward, kind of clumsy type character who, and she's playing me anyway. And but and it's funny though, because Scarlett Johansson herself is this gorgeous, very confident woman, and it really she's gorgeous, but it really didn't translate her performance. It was clear in the script that this was Woody Allen's dialogue and that this was female Woody Allen standing there, but it was kind of funny because it's he had to go for the gorgeous woman, but she doesn't necessarily feel, she couldn't really embody that type of character. And it was just sort of...
Again, Kari, I'm not arguing just for overweight men. I'm just saying overweight people in general. I relate to overweight men because I am a man, but overweight females I would like to see.
Yeah, when I was doing auditions, actually, it's in Hollywood and even in television and movies, you either have to be 100 pounds or 250 pounds, right? And anything in between is kind of seen as unseemly or just doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's changing a bit now. I'm watching TV shows now, and I'm seeing more variety there, but I remember going to auditions where I wasn't fat enough or where I wasn't skinny enough, and it's just there was nowhere for me to fit in there. And by and large, that's part of the reason I ended up quitting commercials and stuff, was just because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And there's really no room for normal-looking people in these
I think
things.
the UK is better.
The UK is a lot better at it.
At casting normal people.
But I saw.
But I think the UK doesn't have as much of a, like, this seems to be systemically a Hollywood thing.
Yeah. Whereas,
like you said, a lot of Miyazaki films. But if you think about a lot of just Asian cinema or just worldwide cinema, there's a lot more, and worldwide media, there's a lot more representation of minorities.
Asians and
well,
Asian. No.
There's that's not where I was going with it, but thank you, Errol. Yes, there's more Asians in Asian films.
What was I gonna say?
Totally ruined my
what
point.
did I just watch? I just watched Broadchurch. I just breezed my way through that, and I loved it. And that was one of those few things, you watch a movie about a small town, and it's a small town full of gorgeous people, right? And this one, I was looking at this small town, and it's like, no, this seems like a town of normal people. They're all shapes and sizes. They're all it's like small British towns, so they do happen to be all white. But still, that at least in terms of physicality, the old characters look old, like the characters who say they're 40 years old. Yeah, they look 40 years old. It doesn't look like they hired a 30-year-old to...
That's part of what I liked about Corner Gas.
Oh, yeah?
Was that, again, not a great representation of people, necessarily, but like, the people who are in it look like small-town people. There's two attractive people, and one of them just moves to the town. Everybody else is not ugly, just... They look like small-town regular folk.
Yeah.
And the lead character is an overweight, balding guy.
Yeah. So...
and...
Now, I will say, it's easier for, say, overweight guys than overweight girls.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, in general,
yeah.
As an overweight person, I would like to see more overweight representation in a positive light.
Yeah.
Errol, as an Asian, would like to see more representation as an Asian in a non-stereotypical light.
Actually, I don't really care that much.
No? Okay.
No, really. I already grew up watching TV with all white people, so it's
weird though, because now I notice it more. When I was watching Scrubs again, I was just like, one of my first thoughts was, there's barely any Asians in this.
But there's not a lot of. There's like 3 or 4 like major black characters.
Yeah. But
the majority of people in the hospital are white.
Yeah, their patients are all white.
As I said, because if I were to watch an Asian film all filled with Asians, I'm not going to think, why aren't there white people in this film?
It's true.
And if I watch a Bollywood film, where are the white people?
I'll go to
where
Japan
are the
and advocate
Asians?
for the rights of white people in a Japanese film.
But there's a huge difference between our culture and their culture, where they are predominantly one race or one culture.
Well, you're still predominantly one race and one culture in North America.
No, we're
not in Toronto.
No,
but even within America, I think whites are becoming technically a minority. Not in the sense that they are underrepresented, but that they are a decreasing number within the population.
Yeah, but not that much.
I'm pretty sure the
Hispanics. 80%.
No,
I mean, well, if you take the U.S. and just take them all.
I'm pretty sure the whites represent. I'll have to look up these numbers, but I could have swore I saw it was about 40 whites representing 40% of America.
But maybe in Los Angeles. But I'm talking about North America.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
The majority of people who live in the United States live within California and the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
The center of America, which is predominantly white, is like less than 20% of the population.
I don't know. Somebody look that up.
Sure
it's still high.
I will send you this infographic I saw the other day that showed the population base within the United States. The majority of it is in California, a few along the Great Lakes, like in Illinois and Michigan, and then the rest of it is Washington D.C., New York area.
No, I know where they're mostly
but that's like 80% of the population.
But I still don't think that. I still think you guys are a majority. Now in Toronto, I would say for sure that you guys aren't.
In city centers, there's a lot.
No, but that's what I'm saying is that the majority of the population of the United States is centered around city centers, not within the core of the United States, where you would think about.
Melly says in California, whites are probably 50%.
Okay, I could be wrong about the stats, but I could have swore it was like they are becoming a minority within the United States. I may be wrong. I'm willing to admit if I am, but
it's mostly whites and Hispanics in California. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
These are all interesting. You
didn't know that, or did you?
I didn't actually know that.
Again, I'm not trying to argue that as a white male. I want to make sure I have like the biggest white guilt there is. So I'm not trying to say that I am a minority within my rights are being taken away.
You're just saying actual physical numbers.
I'm saying actual physical numbers that whites are depleting, and I'm
sorely depleting. It's going to be taken away.
Trying to make a clarification.
Bechdel Test. What other movies for the Bechdel Test?
You know that we're 2/3 white in this podcast.
Yes, but we're also 2/3 male.
Yes, that's true.
So,
see, 2/3 male, 2/3 white.
Very underrepresented here.
It's funny, and I mentioned this before. In the Toronto geek circles I run in, I'm like one of 2 or 3 Asians.
Yeah.
But there's tons of females. That's great.
Lots of females.
The geeky
which is funny if you
males
go to
don't
conventions.
go out.
If you go to conventions,
It's different. Yeah.
it's mostly Asian females.
Yeah. Well, if you go to anime conventions and they're all
It's mostly white males, but
and they're all cosplaying, but yeah.
Okay, I was wrong. Sorry. It's still 72%, but
yeah, it's pretty up there.
I could have swore it was depleting even more than that, but
72%.
Really, Earl? Really? We had to go to the Asian voice. What other movies?
I don't know. I wanted you guys to suggest movies.
My Little Pony. That's
My Little Pony,
probably-
I think, would pass.
It would pass.
You know what I was thinking today? I was thinking about my stereotypical movies, not just Ghostbusters, but I was thinking through the Ninja Turtle movies. The first 2 do not pass, but I'm pretty sure the third film and TMNT pass.
The third film?
Yes, because April and I can't remember her name, but there's the lead female Asian chick who have a conversation that is not about me. I'm trying to remember. I could be wrong. Because
they don't want to date turtles. Yeah.
Yes, Brian, you're right. The 3GP does not pass the Bechdel test because I don't think besides the devs we've ever had another female.
And you always talk about men.
Oh, no, we do pass because Jen's been on. Jen's been on and you guys have had conversations.
Oh,
so
but she was probably talking about her men lust.
Can you hit him for me, please?
Oh, my pillow.
Oh, watch the glass.
Watch the glass.
I heard it clink.
What's another movie that passes that I like? Most of them are Miyazaki films. So I'm trying to think outside.
Outside of Miyazaki.
E.T. doesn't pass.
E.T. doesn't pass.
Even though there are two female characters with names, the mother and Drew Barrymore, I don't think they have a conversation that's not about a male.
Battlestar Galactica reboot. That passes.
It's hard with TV shows, though, because there's so much more time that, there's so many other opportunities for conversations.
What about...
Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, they mentioned that earlier. That does pass.
That passes. This is...
But again, that's...
I know, it's a series.
No, I think there are movies. However, I do want to point out that it seems to be any of the ones that do pass are films that are geared towards women that are not romantic comedies.
But I have one, Ever After.
Oh.
It's a rom-com. There's a scene in there between Angelica Houston and Drew Barrymore where they talk about...
Devil Wears Prada, then.
The Devil Wears Prada. That would do it.
Because there's entire conversations.
Yeah. Angelica
And there's
Houston,
3 main characters in that one.
Yeah, and they have a conversation about being...
Did the Muppets pass?
Well, Miss Piggy's played by a man.
There are other females in the movie, though. I don't think the Muppets passed.
A lot of good geek TV shows. What about, would Gravity... What about Doctor Who? Would that...
Are you kidding? They're all in love with the Doctor.
That's true. It doesn't pass so well.
No, I mean, you're right. It's hard to do it to TV.
That's
But at least I would hope that within TV they can have more decent conversation.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie passes.
That's terrible.
That is terrible.
I'm trying to think of... I know Superman doesn't pass. I don't think X-Men...
Does X-Men pass?
There are more than one female character, but I think they have... I think their conversations are always about men.
Yeah.
So which films can you think of have a female protagonist, though, as the main character?
Well, other than Anna Green Gables?
Sorry?
Alien.
Alien, yes. But
do they have...
anything with Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. Yeah, at least in what is it, Galaxy Quest, she's not a love interest, though. I mean, she is the only female.
But Galaxy Quest, even though if it doesn't pass, I still want to put that one up there as a good example because it's taking a stab at that kind of character, which is part of the purpose of it.
Yeah, no, I love Galaxy Quest.
Does Serenity pass? I think it does. Does it? I'm trying to think of the females. I don't know if any of the females actually have conversations. They always have it with another man.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's her name got almost completely, set aside in that one.
Who? Inara?
No, Inara has a bigger role.
Yeah.
It's hard to write.
I can't remember her name right now.
Zoe.
Zoe's almost kind of pushed to the side.
Yep.
River barely speaks.
Yeah. She just looks creepily around.
Yeah.
Then predicts the future. And
Hunger Games does pass because Katniss and Rue have entire conversations.
Yeah, Hunger Games passes.
But I have major issues with that one, especially about
Rue.
No, not about the development of characters in that film. And even though Katniss is kind of set up as a strong female character, the route they take her, I'd argue that she isn't.
Yeah, she survives, but she gets a lot of, I don't know, actually.
No, Jax, I think the Hunger Games does pass, but I'm pretty sure there's an entire 5-minute scene between
Rue and Katniss talk all the time.
Or even at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, her mother and her sister, they're constantly talking.
Constantly talking.
Just don't keep quiet.
And what's her name? The pink-haired, crazy...
Oh!
What's her name?
Whoever Elizabeth Banks plays.
Yes.
That lady. She was crazy, though. She freaked me out.
What about The Ring?
I don't think horror... Well, actually, horror does tend to be a very good representation of strong female characters, but they tend to be stereotypes and sexualized.
Yes.
Although the leads tend to be virginal if you follow the Scream rules, but...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of some other examples. Wizard of Oz passes because there's conversations between the witch and Dorothy, and
is
Glenda.
Toto a female?
No, Toto's a male.
Oh.
And Auntie M, there's several different strong female. I want to look at some classics too and see.
Oh yeah. What about Casablanca?
Trying to remember another strong one. I think there's only one main female character.
Is there another female character in Casablanca?
No, not that I can think of.
Does Gone with the Wind have another strong?
Oh, I couldn't make it through that movie. It was 2 tapes, and they're just sitting there emoting, and I'm too rich. I didn't like Gone with the Wind at all.
That was what Errol was hearing from Gone with the Wind.
It was rich. I'm sad because it's hard. Now, that makes sense. They're going through the Civil War, and how many people died in the Civil War? An awful lot, right? So I'm not trying, but it was I don't know. It was just,
Yeah, guys, by the way, again, we're not really covering TV here. Someone mentioned the Firefly episodes. Yes, so he does.
Well, no, I think they're trying to defend Zoe as a character by saying...
Zoe's a very strong character.
Well, no, I think someone said that she tends to be a background character even in Firefly, let alone Serenity.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone was saying, no, she does have some, entire episodes based on her. But again, it's TV where there's different stories every week where not every character gets full representation one week, but gets better representation
Meet Me in
next week.
St. Louis passes. It does.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Judy Garland movie when they sing Clang, Clang, Clang with the trolleys.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. And, it's nothing but girls talking in that one.
Yeah.
And not always about marriage. I don't think not always about marriage. Or like
that
boys.
does tend to be very, especially in like the 60s.
Anyway, the main point is that it's hard for us to come up with a movie.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that I can sit here and think of movies, but I have to try and think through the entire movie and remember every bit of dialogue to see if there's a conversation.
It's
There's
like,
a lot of
was
movies.
there one?
I'm trying. There's like entire gaps of movies that I don't remember, or like. It's hard to like retroactively sit there and think about it if you don't know the movie really well. Like I only know that Ghostbusters has the one scene because I know that movie backwards. So,
right.
But I mean,
and I guess I should feel bad.
Part of this test, you're supposed to apply it when you're watching the movie and see if there's any sort of conversation. So, this is your homework, guys. Next time you watch a movie, I want you to sit there, and take a deep look and see, are there two main female characters? Do they have a conversation? And is it about a man?
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be an easy thing to say, nope, that one didn't do it.
No, yeah, and that's the purpose of the test, to demonstrate how few movies actually pass this.
And I think
pass this conditionally.
And I think that is important, but as getting back to the whole ethnic thing, as I said,
Sorry, was it terrible?
No, I was teasing. It doesn't bother me that much, actually.
No.
That thing doesn't bother me, except that it's a stereotype all the time, and that's what bugs me. Is that I don't need any representation. It just would be nice if it wasn't always, at my
well, that's why
not my expense, but
for that, like the Asian character in that.
Oh, I thought you were talking about fat people in Pacific Rim. Thinking what?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were still talking about Asians.
No, you were just ignoring Ja-Mez.
Sorry.
I'm just using my example because I am the fat guy. I am the, and that's what I like. It's something that I've been noticing lately. Not just that there's an underrepresentation of females and people of,
Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Raised since 5 by that guy, still has an accent.
Yeah, that's pretty.
What?
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's a spoiler to that. But she still has an accent. She shouldn't have an accent.
Melly, Disney Princess is actually
Melly doesn't have an accent, does she? No, she's Asian.
She's interesting comments you've been making here on that.
Melly,
I have an accent, a little bit of accent, Canadian accent.
Yes.
Does a Little Mermaid pass? Oh yeah, Ursula. But they're talking about changing for a man.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Talking about her man.
She's trying to do, at the age of 16, anything she can to get with a guy she just saw. Not a bright girl.
No, she's not a bright girl, just like Juliet.
But yeah, that's the terrible thing about a lot of the Disney princess films is that it's about, Brave. Yeah, we had this conversation earlier, Debs. Brave does pass, but it's still, I would argue, a bad representation for women. But
I'm a woman, but we won't touch that.
No, I know many females who agree with you, but
okay.
I have issues with it.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Poor Ja-Mez.
Not just plot issues, I have character issues too.
Yes.
So.
As a representation of women?
Yes.
Although, wouldn't you think, as a male, I'm a male, if a bunch of women tell me that this is a good representation of women, I wouldn't argue against them if I disagreed, because I'm a male. I don't know. What would I know? I'm a guy.
I can still see the merits where it would pass or fail, so...
No, but as in a representation of women.
Wait, I don't want to open this. I don't, no. Someone back up.
Does Tangle pass?
Tangle.
Oh yeah, because it's the mother, the entire conversations with the mother, yes.
And it's not about a guy, it's about her
It
future.
is a romance.
It is, but it's about her future and how she has to stay at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
and Tangled was actually one of the better Disney films in the last...
I like Tangled.
And Wreck-It Ralph are two of my favorites from the last decade.
I love Wreck-It Ralph.
And, Lilo and Stitch passes.
Yeah, because
there's two strong female characters who can have the entire conversation.
No, it doesn't have to be strong female
characters.
It just two females.
But it is interesting because, when there's conditions put on it, but it is interesting to try and look back at those very 3 basic roles and who, and what movie just falls under the basic thing.
Yeah, that's part of the test. Is it's so alarming that it's such simple criteria that a lot of films can't do it. And it demonstrates a very systemic problem within Hollywood that it's not just underrepresentation of females, but there's a very strong bias towards males in authority within Hollywood, but also gearing films towards males.
Mm-hmm.
Did Thelma and Louise pass? I haven't seen it, so I'm
sure.
Know.
I'm sure
Mary
they
Poppins,
must have.
I think that passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must. Although I don't remember the kids' names.
Even the mother, well, though, does she discuss the man with Mary Poppins? I don't know.
No.
Does Emperor's New Groove pass? I can only remember the one female.
I don't think there's any females in that.
Yeah, there's
Yzma, and
the witch.
And then there's the wife, Pakka's wife, but they don't.
I know in the show
interact.
there's the chick that he's kind of chasing, but I don't remember if she's in the movie.
No, she's not. There's nobody. There's no love interest in. Actually, that's interesting. There's no love interest in that movie.
Which one? Oh, Emperor's New Groove. Yes.
No, none. Pakka has a wife, but that's it.
Well, no, because it's more about his growth than about being.
But usually they do tend to throw in a girl. You know, they'll meet a girl and be like, "Oh, I'm going to grow more and be a better man."
See, I'd say Toy Story is not, even though there are females in it, it's not about.
No, that Toy Story is another good example of that. But a lot of them,
again, it doesn't pass because there aren't very many females.
Now, I would say that Hollywood isn't there to show real life at the same time. They're not there.
No, but part of the thing with media is that people relate to it because they can see, they latch onto media because they can relate to it, and it's easier to relate to it when you see a character who's representative. And it's hard for a lot of people who aren't white males to feel represented in movies.
No, I think people want to see caricatures of people. I don't think they want to see real people.
No, I disagree.
Because the majority when you get
if that
into
was
a movie,
true, then there wouldn't be any argument for the Bechdel test because it would just be about, well, this is all fiction. This is just meant to be.
Oh, I know. No.
So.
I'm not saying that there should be enough, but I mean, when it comes down to, you only have 2 hours to flesh out real characters, and that's difficult, sort of thing. If you, because in real life, you wouldn't.
I don't think it's difficult. I just think people aren't doing it well, and there's a difference.
Yeah, but sometimes there's just real life that I don't really want to know about.
No, and that was one of the things I wanted to argue about.
Sleeping Beauty passes because of the fairies. It's
there
true.
You go.
Oh.
There was one of the ones that they brought up in the Feminist Frequency was Moneyball, because she was taking a look at the 2011 Oscar-nominated films, and she was saying Moneyball passes because there isn't a single female character in the movie. It fails because there isn't a single female character. However, the plot of the story is about baseball, which is sadly a male-dominated sport.
Yes.
Professional Major League Baseball is nothing but males. So, yes, it doesn't represent females, and it doesn't have any strong, it doesn't have any sort of
women
in it, so it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. But that the subject matter doesn't permit there being.
What about Whip It? That was a girl movie.
Yep, I don't think there was no romance in that. Well,
there was a romance, big romance.
But it wasn't the main drive of the plot. It was just sort of a character thing for her.
But
Scott Pilgrim, I think, passes.
No.
Yeah.
When
There's like 5 or 6 females who constantly have all kinds of conversations.
But it's always about Scott, isn't it?
Not necessarily.
And it's always about a guy. Like Knives Chow, she doesn't talk about anything but getting Scott back.
Yeah.
Ramona always talks about Scott.
The scene with the exes in after the contest, the third ex and what's her name, the blonde ex of Scott's. They're having entire conversations there between females that aren't about males. They're talking about the concert.
Which one? That's like a very tiny scene.
Oh, it's a very tiny scene.
Yeah.
It goes on for like 2 minutes, but it's still.
But I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember that scene. Actually, I can't remember. I need to.
How come there aren't very many? I mean, maybe there probably are a lot of films with women as lead characters. But
a lot of the ones with women with lead characters are romantic comedies, and a lot of those are nothing but women talking about men.
Yes.
And
so rarely do you have a woman put into a movie if it's not because of for a romance.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that's also
even films that are geared towards women are still typically romantic in nature and still about pursuing a male or attracting, then that's Knives and Kim talk, and it's not about.
And so I wondered, like, what does the demographic like, sort of thing, back then? You know what I mean?
I'll have to double check that, Kari. I'm not sure. You might be right. The comic may not pass, but I'm pretty sure the movie does.
Yeah, Knives and Kim Pine talk. Okay, I accept that.
I mean, what were they like, brought up on from the beginning? Boys were brought up on sports.
I think Alien does pass in with it, because I'm pretty sure the other female, I can't remember her name.
Barbie and Strawberry Shortcake.
Yeah, I had Strawberry Shortcake. It was awesome. She smells good. Those are the two things.
And so then, of course, if you take the logical progression of that, then you can segregate the movies.
That's why I like the move that they've made in toy stores in Britain, where they've decided not to segregate the toys into boys' toys and girls' toys. They're just going to put them on the shelves in any sort of order. And
then see what happens?
Yeah, because that's part of the thing, is that you go to a toy store and there's very distinctly boys' toys and girls' toys. And yes, it's sort of simplicity of organization, but at the same time, it's sort of like you see a little girl go into the boys' section and she picks up a toy gun or she picks up an action figure, and how often do you see parents buying that for her? And I mean, God forbid a little boy walk into the girls' section and pick up a Barbie. It happens, but it's like...
But I would say, though, I have two girls, and I don't push them towards things, but they just go.
Mm-hmm.
And now when my girls... It's funny, when my girls play, and they play with boys, my girls focus an awful lot on story, boys focus an awful lot on action. It's just...
I was the other way around. I was always about the story, about the adventure of...
Yeah, no, I'm not saying boys can't focus on
that was what it was like with my brothers, though, too, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Although most of the boys I played with when I was a kid always wanted to play war, and it was always about beating each other up, and I was like, no, I'm trying to develop a story here.
Yes, and so I'm not saying they can't, but a lot of it is.
Well, Toys R Us is going to do that, too. They're going to get...
I think it's only British Toys R Us, though.
Oh.
I don't think it's American Toys R Us. That's another thing that bugs me, is that the male toys that are geared towards girls, like Lego for girls or Nerf for girls. It's like,
but you know
don't brand it for a gender, just make it non-specific.
But I do like the fact that at least what the Lego for girls did is actually bring female characters that look female.
Yes, that's great.
You say Lego women?
Have representation, but don't...
No, I agree with you. It doesn't have to be called Lego for girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think we're about at time now.
Yeah, it's 9:07.
Yeah.
A little over.
So this is an uncomfortable topic for you, isn't it, man fans?
It's
sorry, I know it's super feminist.
I'm not actually uncomfortable.
I just wanted to... I thought it would make an interesting topic, and I think there's a lot of avenues for...
No, I had a lot of fun, actually, thinking about movies and stuff.
And that's something I wanted, part of my goal with this podcast is to not only... have discussions and whatnot, and to educate, but there's also to give people things to think about when they go home. So part of what I want everyone to do is when they watch a movie tonight or tomorrow night, or next time you watch a movie or any sort of media, sit there and think about the Bechdel test and see whether or not...
I know, it's interesting. I'm going to,
What we should do is talk about things that are, that are difficult to talk about. That'd be fun.
The Bechdel test was just great to talk about.
We talked about Brave. What are you talking about?
This is something that we could all agree on, that there is a very bad or low representation of females.
Yes.
We could talk about other things that are complicated.
Or we could end the episode right here. So, I'm not Errol.
I'm not Ja-Mez.
And I'm not Man Pans.
Bye, guys.
I didn't even read anything in the chat.
Stop the chat.
Oh no, the mouse is gone.
And I'm not allowed to stream.